Well, as I continue my series of meeting and talking with all 7 superintendents across Mason County, I find myself now at Mary M. Knight with Matt Mallery. How you doing?
Good. How are you, Jeff?
I'm well. Good to talk with you.
You too.
Been about a week and a half for school. How's it been so far?
It's been good. We last Friday we celebrated our first 5 full days of continuous sequential in-person instruction. So hit a little milestone last Friday, and it's been going well.
And
Glad to have the kids back.
And when was the last time that would have happened? Was it at the end of last school year, or would it have even been back further?
It would have been back further. When we shut down completely back in March of 20. And then when we started the 2021 school year, we started in full remote, just like all the other schools in the county. And then we started to phase in small groups of students in early October. And so we started that kind of phase-in approach in the hybrid, which is half the students. So we started bringing in our kids 2 days a week beginning in November, and just kept adding grade levels. We started like kinder, first, second grade as a group, held that through November and December back in the last peak, and added grades 3 through 6 and then 7 through 12. We kind of kept that in the hybrid 2 days a week, and then Wednesday was our distance learning day. Then after spring break, we decided to bring all the kids back 4 days a week, full days. Still kept Wednesday as our distance learning day because I did have a number, about 10 kids or 10 families that really wanted to continue in the remote model.
Yeah.
So we had a pretty good test run of what it was like to come back. And we did that from April through June, 4 full days with kids. So when we met with staff this in August about professional development, it was really, we've practiced the full remote learning. We've done the hybrid, we've done a modified hybrid. So we're ready to pivot on just about any type of modality we need to go into. So I think everybody's pleased to have the kids back 5 days a week.
How long have you been in education now?
This is going into I'm finishing up 33, going into 34.
And then what's it like for you? Every year we hear the kids playing in the background. It's just got to be a nice sound.
Yeah, it's good. It's great. It's great to have kids back and get in some sense of normalcy. What we're still practicing is what we practiced all last year, social distancing, face coverings, frequent hand washing. Parents really have been doing a great job in keeping their kids home if they're sick. I really have to commend them on that. They communicate with us if there's a potential exposure at home, and they're going to keep their kids at home for a period of time. So we've been really thankful that parents have really stepped up, and they're keeping their kids home if they're sick, and they've been communicating with us back and forth, if they have a potential concern.
And that's important, especially in a district, in the school district here, the size it is.
Correct.
So talk to me a little bit about the makeup of the Mary M. Knight School District for those who aren't familiar.
We're a K-12 school. Today, about 158 kids. Our enrollment's up a little bit. We're anticipating a few more. And so we have an elementary, middle, and high school. We do have a partnership with Connections Academy. So we're the governing body for Connections, their K-8 entity. So as of last month, we have about another 800 kids that are enrolled under that entity.
Wow.
A year ago, that had really blossomed. So last year we had about 1,900 kids in that full ALE online program. So we're seeing a little bit of decrease in that enrollment this year, which is okay. We kind of had budgeted about 1,000 kids in that entity, and they're still enrolling kids today and this week. So we think it's going to probably be at about 1,000.
That's awesome. That's great. That's a lot of good education that's happening.
Yeah.
One of the things that I've been talking about with the other superintendents, and I'm just going to try to make and put a finer point on it, when it comes to the face covering directives and the vaccination mandates and things like this, those are not decisions made by you as a superintendent or the school board. That comes above you.
Correct.
From the governor's office, the Office of Public Instruction,
right.
Reichdahl's office, or even the Department of Health. You are just taking those directives and putting them into work here at Mary M. Knight.
Correct. And one other agency is Labor and Industries.
Okay.
So there are multiple agencies giving us that directive around face coverings for our students, our patrons, our employees. We all have that from other agencies. So that is a requirement. I know our board's in support of that. And our community, for the most part, has been in support of it as well.
Good.
We've been doing face coverings for, well, next month will be a year. So anyone, kids that came on, if we walk around, you'll see our elementary kids, even though they're at recess, probably 3/4 still have their face coverings on.
Yeah.
High school, middle school, they wear face coverings. We've had really good compliance. We have a few adolescents we have to remind throughout the day, but for the most part, we have not had to battle face coverings.
It seems like the kids are willing and a little more compliant than the adults are in some
Right.
of these scenarios.
And then last spring we went through all of our condensed sports season.
Yeah.
And so basketball and volleyball are indoor sports, and they're pretty big out here. All of our patrons that came in had face coverings on during the whole event. Everyone was compliant. We did have an in-person graduation in the gym. We did have to kind of limit the number of family members per participant. I mean, about 15.
Sure.
But we had everybody in the gym 6 feet apart, and everyone had face coverings on. So everyone in the community, when they come on campus, has been very good about it.
It works.
When they leave, they may not agree with it,
Sure.
but when they're here, they certainly agree. Certainly have been worked well with this.
There's a lot of great things happening at Merriam Night School. What we're going to do now is we're going to pivot over. We're going to talk about the solar panels that have been installed and the benefits that come from that.
Yeah, that'd be great.
As we continue on now, we are here behind the bus barn, and as you can see, we got a whole array of solar panels that were installed this summer. Tell me about those.
Yeah, Jeff, we pursued a grant last year. It was a partnership with Bonneville Environmental Foundation, and we were successful in getting a grant with TransAlta Corporation, which operates the Centralia coal plant, and they're into renewable energy. So between those two entities, with some grant funding and some district money, we're able to put on this 66 panel photovoltaic system that's producing anywhere between 24 kW and possibly 28 kW during the peak of the day. So we anticipated that it's going to produce up to about 5% of our overall energy use is going to be supported by this renewable energy source here.
That's great. Long-term savings for the Merriam Night School District there, and talk about some educational opportunities too for kids.
Right. So part of that is going to be with Bonneville is developing some of those science programs around that. We'll be able to have access to production meter so we can see what the system produces every day, every month, at different times of the year, so we can kind of project out what the energy savings or production would be from that. But also it leads kids down kind of some career exploration